Thanks, Peter. My name is Paul Kelly, and I'm the Senior Consents Manager for the Dublin Array project. Dublin Array is a very important project in the context of the need for climate action. It's accepted by everybody at this stage that climate change is having catastrophic consequences, and those consequences are happening now. They're happening in Europe, they're happening in Ireland, and we can see as we work our way up and down the coastline that coastal erosion is becoming quite a common feature. Unfortunately, with war in Europe and the catastrophic consequences for the population there, one of the secondary consequences is that it's undermining energy security and driving up energy costs. Irish legislation and government policy commits Ireland to a net zero future by 2050, with 51% reduction of greenhouse gases by 2030, and that 80% of our electricity will be from renewables by 2030. The most recent data from 2021 unfortunately indicates that our greenhouse gases continue to rise. Dublin has no significant renewable energy resource, whilst it's the region with the greatest electricity demand, with a future population growth of 400,000 expected by 2030. Climate action is needed now, and one of the key actions from the Government Climate Action Plan is the delivery of 7,000 megawatts of offshore wind. Dublin Array is climate action, decarbonising with local supply of green, clean electricity. One of the most frequent questions that we're asked here in the project office is, well, what is the timeline for the project? Well, the timeline historically has always been strongly influenced by a wide range of variables tied up in government policy and legislation. The government now has delivered a number of the core building blocks of relevant policy and the Maritime Area Planning Act, which now puts us on a clearer trajectory for project delivery. 2022 was a very significant year for the project. EirGrid, the National Electricity Transmission System operator, has confirmed to us that our point of connection for the clean green electricity that we will generate at Dublin Array will be at the existing Carrickmines 220 kV substation. And just last month, the Minister for the Environment, Climate and Communications issued us with our Maritime Area Consent. Early next year, we expect to have a new foreshore licence, which will allow us to undertake detailed surveys. And we will also participate in the state's offshore renewable electricity market auction. And before the end of the year, we also expect to be making our planning application to An Bord Pleanála. Once we come through the planning process, we would expect that our construction will commence in 2026, and that will mean that we could be generating electricity from this significant offshore project by 2028. As I said earlier, one of the key achievements from 2022 was that we were one of the first projects in the state ever to be awarded a Maritime Area Consent. The Maritime Area Consent is a new state consent which the state introduced under the Maritime Area Planning Act for the regulation of activities that occur offshore. This new consent will be enforced by the Maritime Agency Regulatory Authority, or MARA. Now, to achieve that consent, we had to make a detailed technical and financial submission to the Department of the Environment, Climate and Communications, setting out why RWE and Cergus were appropriate candidates to hold a Maritime Area Consent, that our project proposals for Dublin Array were consistent with the Climate Action Plan, the National Marine Planning Framework, and offshore renewable energy targets. In addition, in that submission, we had to demonstrate our comprehensive track record in the delivery of offshore wind farm projects internationally. We also had to provide sufficient financial information to demonstrate that we had the capacity to deliver this project. In addition, our submission characterised sustainability factors of our projects, including, for example, the use of recyclable blades, which we are one of the first offshore projects to do in Europe. With the Maritime Area Consent, it is a consent to occupy the marine space for the permitted maritime usage, which is the construction of an offshore wind farm, for up to 45 years. However, as a holder of that consent, it puts obligations on us to achieve certain milestones in the project. We are required to apply to An Bord Pleanála for final planning permission for the project. We have an obligation to promote coexistence with other marine space users. We have to deliver a rehabilitation plan which sets out how we propose to restore the seabed to its natural state after the project is decommissioned. And we also have to pay significant levies to the state for the rights to be able to conduct the development and operational phase of the project. And at this stage, I'll pass over to my colleague, John. Thank you.